Hi there. Here I am, and I'll say hello this way. Um, so I have, oh, here's my camera. Oh, get that out of the way. I have done so um, much just adding to this. I decided yesterday to really beef this guy up, and I'm going to turn to the other view. Thanks for being here, Mark and Frank and Jackie. I really appreciate it. Okay, so I'm going to go to the other view here and just kind of show you what I did. I thought I'm going to just take my material, my reference material, and let me, well, you can't see the far away yet, and I'll show that in a minute. But just kind of beef him up and equalize him. And I didn't thin the legs out completely yet because I thought of something I'm going to do, but I thinned them quite a bit. And so you can kind of see it. I beefed up the face a little bit. I decided that I really wanted to do those ears going kind of back. That's not as much as, say, like, let me put him aside for a minute. Here, I'll put him aside here so you can see me stand him up. All right, so this picture is that what we got started with. And the ears are kind of back, and I like that pose. You know, like, I'm not sure if you can see all of that, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there with it. This head's going the other way from sort of where I started out with this straight, and I started to kind of, as you can see, turn it because I'm kind of inspired by this turned head. And, you know, we can go either way because I'm going to take that head off to do the face. And I'll have that starting next Monday, where we're going to start to refine that face. Because it's not just making a wolf face, but it's also making an expression that I'm trying to achieve. So what I did is I added more material up here, and I added this bulk. If you want to take a look again at this picture here, let me see if I can kind of line it up and show you what I've done. There's a furry patch that comes over here, like over the muscle, and there's like a furry patch there. Let me try to turn it so you can see that it matches up with these parts. And then as to the thickness of the animal, I've been looking at, let me switch views real quick. I've been looking at a lot of these videos, and let me see if I can show you one example, which I thought was pretty good. There's so many good pictures in here. But anyway, here's like another, there's a front on. So you can kind of see the width, the separation underneath. Plus, if you have a dog, you can look at your dog, say, turn over, roll over. And now what I started to do, I realized in the previous live streams, you'll see that tail was way too long. Let me see if I can put it down for you to see it that way. Let's go to the other view. And whoop. Okay, so I already chopped it a little bit there, and I thought, well, there's a good opportunity that I can show you a little trick. For example, in the gift industry, I started to separate it from there, but there's no need to. And what that does is that adds extra support to this whole sculpture. So let me just carve away a little with my hand there. But what I can do is I can take the bulk of this tail and more attach it to this leg, and that creates a little bit of stability. Now, my play was, and you can see in this picture too, the idea is there, and it will work. Let me see if I can go to another view where you see the length of the tail. Let me get to the faraway view. Okay, so there's so many good reference points, and here's a great face. Let's see if I can show you the face here. Very good close-ups of the face, so you can see all those little details, and the mouth's open, which is helpful. But and there's another good shot. Oh, right there. So that's really good. But I was going to show you the length of the tail in one of these shots, which was really good. And maybe right here. Here we go. See, now it's not as long as I originally had it. There we go. That's a really good. and it kind of puffs out nicely at the bottom. So this has been room temperature, and so I got out my heat gun. I'm going to give it some softening right there real fast. That's pretty much all you need. It just helps the hot clay stick better to the colder clay that's at room temperature. So I'm just going to put this hot clay right on there, get that out, and create a connection point right here for stability. It'll really help keep the, let me get that with my hands now. It's not so hot after just a few minutes. Let me pick it up too. And by the way, at this stage, I hold this to work on it. So I'm working all around, I'm moving it all around, lining it up with my eye as well as my caliper tools. But I'm lining it up and turning it all around. And at some point, we're going to have to stabilize the whole thing to do the fur texture, because you can't really do the fur texture and then hold it again. It'll mess it up. So the question is how to do that. And so what I'm going to do with this sculpture is I'm going to create a kind of a rock base for him to be standing on. And I may brace it temporarily and then go through and do the fur texture. Let me go down a little further so you can see that a little better. And then go down and do the fur texture, but he'll be braced in a way. You see a point I don't like here too. Oops, wrong end of the knife. You know, sometimes I get impatient like that, and I just get my knife out and start chopping. But I just saw, when I was looking at it this way, like right down the middle, I saw it was not even, so I fixed that. But anyway, are there any questions at this point? Probably you're going, what is she doing? What the heck is she doing? So, but anyway, there is a method to this madness, and by attaching that leg, it just stabilizes it a lot more at that point, attaching the leg to the tail. So, and it's going to be a very fluffy looking, furry looking tail. So I think it'll work out nicely right there. And it's not too long. I mean, I can still clip it. It's showing it's maybe like that. I want to leave a little room so I can create that texture. There we go. That might be better. That's what's great about this clay, is you can just edit it pretty much endlessly. And if it gets real hard, just get your heat gun or your hair dryer and warm it up for a second. So something more, and it's kind of, the way the tail is, it kind of hangs. I'm seeing that. And then there's a shape kind of like right in here. While it's still soft, I'll get at that. I do as much as I can with my hands, and then I get going with the tools. Frank and Jackie ask, will we include the rock base when we make a mold? Yes, and it would be separated too. It would probably be a separate piece altogether. So, for example, if you want to make a mold on this, you would probably remove whatever you called the back of the sculpture, 2 legs, and you would lay it down in a bed of this kind of soft clay we use to make the mold walls and to put the barrier around it so you can pour one side and then turn it over. So we'd probably take 2 legs off and mold those separately, but 2 can stay on because they would pull. You kind of have to picture how it would pull, how the mold would pull off. And you don't want it locking like right in here, right? You don't want that to grab underneath. So you have to work it out like that. But this is a typical piece that would be molded in the gift industry, a dog or an animal with 4 legs, and you take the 2 legs off to do the mold. So yes, we're going to do a rock base, and it would be a separate piece to mold. But it would give this a lot of stability, and let me see if I have them front on. That's the other goal, is to try to and I see this as a mistake here, to try to make it absolutely perpendicular as if you had a string through it, because this is, I know, too much material right there, and not wavering one side or the other. And you can adjust that even with the armature, and every leg has a piece of this wire armature. This I use Richardson because it's so strong yet so easy to work with. Turn it around and it has great properties. But anyway, so you can edit that if you needed to. But so far, I'm kind of happy with the direction, even though there's a lot more to do, and that our reference material is kind of lacking, and I know that. So what my idea is to create this and then take pictures of it, and then that would create a guide that would be really comprehensive, because then you'd have views like that. You know, you'd have views from every angle. And right now, I'm going to have to do a lot of interpretation looking at the videos. So, any other questions at this stage? Because maybe Monday, depending on how far I get, I might want to have that head off so I can start to detail the face. And let's go to the other view real quickly, because I want to show you what I did. So I still don't have my new camera up yet. I'm sorry, guys. I've been so darn busy with getting ready to move and other projects that I have. Anyway, that looks terrible right now. But what I want to do is I widened it a little, not as much as I'm going to, because I like that face. I like several of those. And look at the rough. Look at this, like, rough around the face. It's not that wide yet. Even that one, that's really good. And so we're going to try to match up that. But I want to take this head off so I can do a really polished job with the kind of snarling face that we're trying to achieve in the end. So when I do the rock base, I'll demonstrate that and probably put some kind of extra armature support, like just that's temporary underneath him, so that when I do the fur texture, I'm not putting too much pressure on these legs, even though they do have the armature in them. I always like extra support. The other thing you can always do is put a big piece of clay under there while you're working and turn it around. That way you can turn it as you're working, and the pressure from your hands working on it, making clay, fur texture, won't all of a sudden break your posture. You don't want the position to change. So we're getting there. And anything else you can think of, please put in the comments afterward, because I'd love to be able to answer more questions. I mean, this is very rough at this stage for anybody who's new, but it's just typical of how these projects begin. They're always very rough in the beginning, and then this is going to be fur, and I just got big, by the way, just for anybody going, what the heck is that? Just big patches that indicate my fur directions, as you see in the reference material. Anybody that doesn't have this reference material, it's in our posts on the YouTube channel, Learn Sculpture. Okay, well, I guess that's all the time I have for today. I've got a crazy weekend ahead. Thank you so much for coming again today. Let me say goodbye properly. And I always look forward to seeing that you're on and with me here in my little sculpture club. It's so encouraging. Thank you so much.